Jordan Belfort took a lot of money from people, over $200 million. That is a lot of money. Then Jordan did something wrong that led him to go to prison for 22 months. After that, something strange happened. Now he gets paid like $30,000 to $50,000 to talk to people virtually and $100,000 to $200,000 for in-person events about being honest in business. Jordan talks to people about how to be honest, which is weird because Jordan himself did not do that before. He gets to share his thoughts on honesty in business, and people listen to him. He is famous now. More famous than he was before he did those bad things. Belfort is still well known today because of what he did. This guy made a ton of money from penny stocks. He took that money, did some pretty bad stuff, and somehow he got away with it. Then everything came crashing down. With all the trouble he got into, he still had a blast and ended up with even more money than when he started. Penny stocks really paid off for him. He made a lot of money from penny stocks. In mid-1980s, Jordan Belfort was walking from house to house on Long Island. He was selling meat and seafood to people. He was 25 years old then. Jordan did not have any money at all. The business of Jordan was in big trouble. He had just gone bankrupt, which is a bad thing. Jordan owed money to his friends and his family and to all the people who had trusted him and his business. Most of the people in Jordan Belfort's situation would have looked for a job. They would have gone back to school to learn something. Even Jordan could have done that, but he didn't. He could have learned a skill, something that would have helped him get a good job, but Jordan did something else. Belfort went into a brokerage firm in Manhattan. He was really good with people, so he talked his way into a training program at L.F. Rothschild brokerage firm. Belfort was very excited to be a part of the brokerage firm program. The brokerage firm was in Manhattan, which is a big city. Belfort liked the idea of working at the brokerage firm in Manhattan.
His first day as a stockbroker was really something. It was reportedly made that he made $12,000 in commissions, which is a lot of money. This was not something he made in a year. He made this amount of money in just one day. He thought he had found the thing that he loved, and that was making money with people's money. The good thing about working with people's money is that nobody would show up at your door asking for their money back when things do not go well with the stockbroker's investment. And that is what he liked about being a stockbroker, working with people's money. The man found out that when you are in the meat business, people will actually come to your door and ask for their money back. When you are a stockbroker and the investment does badly, that does not happen with the stockbroker and the investment. People just do not show up at the stockbroker's door asking for a refund like they do in the meat business. By 1989, Jordan Belfort had gotten his broker's license. He had a problem. He was working at a place called Investors Center. This place sold something called penny stocks. Penny stocks are shares of companies that people can buy for less than $1. Belfort knew that penny stocks were not investments like the stocks of real companies. Most brokers did not want to sell penny stocks because they were not very good. He could make a lot of money from selling penny stocks. For example, if he sold $10,000 worth of penny stocks, he could keep $5,000 for himself as his fee. Belfort liked this idea because he could make a lot of money from selling penny stocks. Belfort was very interested in penny stocks. He wanted to make money fast. Then this thing called Black Monday happened. That was a terrible day. The firm that Jordan Belfort worked for it basically fell apart. Jordan Belfort was out of a job again, which was a problem for him. People usually think it is time to quit when things get tough. Jordan Belfort thought the business was a way for him to make some money. He did not want to give up. He really wanted the business to succeed, so he kept going. In 1989, Jordan Belfort and his partner Danny Porish started a company called Stratton Oakmont. This company was in a place that used to fix cars in Queens. Jordan Belfort and Danny Porish wanted Stratton Oakmont to sound like a company on Wall Street that had been around for a very long time, like 100 years. In reality, Stratton Oakmont was just a bunch of young guys all in their 20s who were calling people on the phone from the phone book. Belfort and Porish were the ones who came up with this idea for Stratton Oakmont. They were trying to make it sound important. Belfort and Porish were the founders and leaders of Stratton Oakmont. The idea was really simple. You find a company that nobody knows about, then you buy a lot of shares in that company for little money. After that, you call a lot of people. Try to convince them that this company is going to do very well soon. You tell people that this company is going to make a lot of money. When the price of the shares in this company goes up because many people are buying shares in this company, you sell your shares in this company at the price and take the money you made from selling shares in this company. This is called a pump and dump scheme. In a pump and dump scheme is when you buy shares in a company, make people think shares in this company are worth more, and then sell shares in this company. People on the street say it is fraud. Belfort and Porish call it a quick money-making strategy.
Jordan Belfort did not just do scams. He came up with dump schemes. He made these schemes really good in such a way that you won't resist. He was very successful at making these dump schemes work for him. He made a lot of money from these dump schemes he created. He hired men who were really tough. They usually came from families that were not well off. He then taught these men at a place he called Stratton University. At Stratton University, the young men learned things like what to say and how to deal with people who said no. They also learned how to speak in a convincing voice. The young men at Stratton University learned how to sound like they knew what they were talking about, even when they really did not know anything about Stratton University and what they were doing. People figured out how to talk to folks like a grandmother who lives in Kansas. They would say things to make her want to take all of her money out of her savings account. Then they would tell her to use that money to buy shares in a company. The thing is that this company did not make anything. They learned how to convince people to buy in a short time. Even though the company did not make anything, they still wanted people to buy the shares in it. The key to success was the script that Jordan Belfort used. He picked every word in this script very carefully. The reason he did this was to make sure investors would say yes. If someone said they had to talk to their husband or wife about it, the broker already knew what to say. If they said they did not have money to invest, the broker had a response for that too. The script was not really about giving people a lot of information. The main thing the script was supposed to do was get money from the investors, which is what the script was all about. It actually worked. The thing he was trying to do really worked for him at that time. By 1991, Jordan Belfort had a lot of people working for the Stratton Oakmont brokerage firm. There were over 1,000 brokers working at Stratton Oakmont. They were making a lot of money. The office of Stratton Oakmont was a crazy place. It was like a mix of a college fraternity house and a casino when you were inside the office of Stratton Oakmont. Brokers would do some strange things to have fun. They would throw small people and watch them stick to the targets with Velcro on them. The company would also hire women to attend parties that took place during lunch. Danny Porish and Jordan Belfort were really living the good life with other people's money. Belfort had a lot of things. Some of them you'll be shocked to hear. For example, he even had a lion at his house. Belfort liked to travel in style. He would often fly to Europe on jets. He spent approximately $12.8 million in 1 year, as reported in the newspapers. He liked to have things, and he was willing to spend a lot of money to get them. The people who got hurt were teachers, retirees, and families who were trying to make a life for their kids. A broker would call them. This broker sounded really smart. He made it seem like he had information that others on Wall Street did not have. These families would then put in a lot of money, like $20,000 or $50,000. Some families would even use all of the money they had saved for when they were tired. The families were trying to make a life for their kids, and the broker made it sound like a good idea to invest this money. The stock would do poorly. When people called the broker back, the broker would tell them to be patient and that it was just a small issue. The broker would say that the investors, they should actually buy more of the stock to make their investment in the stock better. The broker would say things like that to the teachers, the retirees, and to the middle-class families who had invested in the stock. A lot of people lost everything they had. I am talking about the people who lost everything. The people lost their homes, their money, and their belongings. People really did lose everything they owned. Here is where things take a turn. Jordan Belfort knew that he was doing something wrong. He wrote a book about his life. In it, he says he was aware of what he was getting himself into. Belfort tried to make himself feel a little better about the whole thing by telling himself that lots of people on Wall Street were doing bad things too. He thought he was just really good at it. In the 1990s, Stratton Oakmont was making a lot of money, $1 billion a year. The people in charge of watching the movement of money in the United States of America, the regulators, saw some things that did not look right at Stratton Oakmont. They started to look into Stratton Oakmont to see what was going on at this brokerage firm.
The Securities and Exchange Commission, which people call the SEC, began to investigate Stratton Oakmont. There is this group called the National Association of Securities Dealers that keeps an eye on companies like Stratton Oakmont. Also, this group started asking Stratton Oakmont questions about what the company was doing with the money. Belfort's response was to get more aggressive. He would call the regulators himself. Belfort would yell at them over the phone. He would tell them that he was going to sue them. He would say that the regulators were being unfair to his company because it was doing well. At that time, Belfort was doing something else. He was giving money to some accountants and lawyers so they would help him hide his money in different countries. Belfort was setting up companies in Switzerland. He was also showing his employees how to deceive the people who were looking into what he was doing. He wanted his employees to lie to the investigators who were trying to find out what Belfort was up to. The parties that he had were getting really big. I mean, big. People say that Belfort gave out $1 million in cash as Christmas bonuses one time. Can you believe that? He just threw the money from the second-floor balcony of the office. The employees were running around like crazy on the floor below trying to catch the money. Belfort also rented out restaurants for dinners with his staff. These dinners would often turn into parties with a lot of crazy things going on. Belfort was a wild guy. Allegedly, he even crashed a helicopter one time because he was drunk. Belfort was really out of control when he was drunk. He sank his yacht off the coast of Sardinia. The yacht sank because he tried to sail the yacht when there was a storm and he was drunk at that time. If you are really enjoying this, then hit that subscribe button. We look into stories like this one every week. We want to know what you think about the system and the stories we look into like this one every week. In December 1996, the NASD, now known as FINRA, threw Stratton Oakmont out of the securities industry. You would think that would be the end of Stratton Oakmont. It was not the end of Jordan Belfort. Belfort just found a way to do things, just to keep Stratton Oakmont running. He started working with companies under different names, so the scam with Stratton Oakmont just kept going. The Federal Bureau of Investigation got involved at that point and started to look into the situation. Gregory Coleman, an agent, started working on a case. He talked to the people who got hurt by this. He got the records he needed. He looked at the money that was hidden in accounts in different countries. What Gregory Coleman found out was that there was a group of people working together. The group of people had been doing this for almost 10 years. They took then $200 million from the people who had put their money in. Coleman saw that the group of people were very good at hiding the money they took. Gregory Coleman found out that this criminal conspiracy was really big, and it had been happening for a while, taking money from investors. Coleman wanted to put a stop to it. He was very determined to stop this conspiracy because it was stealing money from investors. And he did, because he did not want that to happen anymore. In 1998, the federal agents went into the offices of Stratton Oakmont. They took everything from Stratton Oakmont. The federal agents took computers and files and all of that stuff from Stratton Oakmont. Jordan Belfort was charged with money laundering, manipulation of penny stocks, and securities fraud through Stratton Oakmont, the operation known as the pump and dump scheme that defrauded people of millions of dollars. Danny Porish, who worked with Jordan Belfort at Stratton Oakmont, was also charged with money laundering and securities fraud. He was charged separately. So, Stratton Oakmont had to close down for good because of all the things that happened within it. Belfort's lawyer told him that he would have to go to prison for a long time, like 20 years. This is the part that makes the whole story feel like a joke. Belfort worked with the people who were looking into what he did. He even wore a wire to help the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This helped the Federal Bureau of Investigation catch people who were part of the scheme with Jordan Belfort. He told them everything they wanted to know, like names and details. The Federal Bureau of Investigation got all the information they needed from him. In return, Belfort got a deal that helped him go out earlier. The punishment is 22 months in prison. That's all. The person who did this thing will have to stay in prison for less than 2 years. They took $200 million from thousands of people. This is what happens when you steal $200 million from thousands of people. The person who stole $200 million from thousands of people will be in prison for a time. Belfort was told to pay $110 million to the people he hurt. As of May 17, 2018, 9 News reported that he has so far paid off just $17 million of an owed $145 million.
The people who were cheated have only gotten roughly 11 to 14 cents for every dollar they lost. They lost the money they saved for when they retire, the money they saved for their kids to go to college, and everything they worked hard for. It was allegedly reported that Belfort went to a prison that was really not that kind of prison situation. The prison was not like what you would expect. He spent most of his time playing tennis. Belfort also taught the people in the prison about the stock market. Belfort said that being in prison was not so bad for him. When Belfort got out of prison in 2006, he was 44 years old. At that time, he was ready to start a new part of his life. A lot of people who have been to prison have a hard time finding a job. Some people, like Jordan Belfort, are really lucky because he got a book deal. In 2007, Jordan Belfort came out with a book called The Wolf of Wall Street. It was a hit. Lots of people bought the book. Jordan Belfort was honest about what he did, like cheating people and breaking the law. He told these stories in a way. Some people were not happy with the book. They thought he was making his wrongdoings sound cool. Belfort said he was just telling it like it was. He was talking about the things that happened with the fraud and crimes that he was involved in. He wanted people to know what really happened in his life. He wanted to tell everyone the truth about himself. Then, in 2013, Martin Scorsese made a movie about Jordan Belfort. The movie had Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It did well and made a lot of money, approximately $407 million worldwide. Jordan Belfort's story was so popular that the movie received 5 Academy Award nominations, but won none. He was suddenly everywhere. People talked about him all the time. He became famous, an icon. The story of him was all over the place. This is the thing about it. He started giving these speeches. The thing that is really strange is that he was giving motivational speeches is what he was giving. This guy would go to events and sales conferences at universities. He would get up on stage, tell the story of Stratton Oakmont. The guy would tell the story of Stratton Oakmont in a way that sounded like a lesson on how to convince people to buy things. The story of Stratton Oakmont was being used to teach people how to sell. He did not really talk about the fact that the methods he used at Stratton Oakmont were used to trick people. The guy was getting paid a lot of money. Tens of thousands of dollars to teach employees of companies how to make sales like the Wolf of Wall Street. Companies were paying the guy to teach their employees how to make sales like the Wolf of Wall Street. He was teaching them how to close deals like the Wolf of Wall Street. The Wolf of Wall Street was really good at sales techniques and persuasion. The story of Stratton Oakmont was a way to teach people about the Wolf of Wall Street's methods. The Wolf of Wall Street knew how to persuade people. That is what he was teaching them. The people who got hurt in this situation saw everything that went down. They saw the money they lost being used to buy boats and huge houses and to throw huge parties. They also saw the money being used to sell books and to pay for speaking events. The people who got hurt then told the government about this. They wanted to know why Belfort was allowed to make money from the things he did when the people who got hurt by him had not yet gotten their money back. The Justice Department said the man was doing what he was supposed to do with his restitution agreement. He had to pay half of what he earned. The man had to pay back the $110 million. This is a lot of money. It's hard to know how much money a motivational speaker really makes. The Justice Department has to keep track of the man's money to make sure he pays what he owes. The man has to pay back the $110 million. He has to pay half of his income until he pays back the $110 million. The Justice Department is watching to make sure the man pays. In 2013, Jordan Belfort had an interview. The person asking the questions wanted to know if he felt bad about the people who got hurt by him. Jordan Belfort said he felt bad about the people who were affected. He felt really terrible about what happened to the victims of his scheme. Then he started talking about his job. He was working with people to help them achieve their dreams. He was doing something new. He was helping people with their dreams, and he was happy about that. So what does this really mean to people like us? It's something that people like us have to consider and think about carefully. It affects our lives. That is why it's important to us. The Wolf of Wall Street isn't really a story about fraud. It's a story about consequences, or the lack of them. Belfort did some bad things for a very long time. He broke the law for approximately 7 years. Belfort took money that did not belong to him from a lot of families. These families lost all the money they saved to give to their kids and grandkids when they grew up.
Belfort went to prison for what he did. He had a good time in prison. He was able to play tennis for 2 years. After he got out, he started giving talks to people. Now he makes a lot of money from his talks. He earns more than a lot of the people he hurt in the past. The system is meant to punish people like Jordan Belfort. That did not happen. The system actually did a lot of things for him. He was helped by the system. This is really surprising because he is the one who was supposed to be punished. What about the people who were affected by this situation? The victims are still waiting to get their money. They have not received their money yet. The people who got hurt are still trying to fix their lives and make things right. Our society likes people who win. It doesn't matter how they win. Charisma and winning are what people notice, not being honest and telling the truth. Charisma and winning get people ahead, not being accountable and telling the truth about charisma. I was thinking about Jordan Belfort. I have a question for you. If Jordan Belfort paid back all the money tomorrow, would that make a difference? Would it change what people think of him? Or is it too late for Belfort to make a change? What do you think about Jordan Belfort and this situation with him? I would love to hear your thoughts, so please share them with me in the comments about what you think. And if you want more stories about people who gamed the system and walked away smiling, subscribe. We're just getting started.